everyone, Victor from CloseBot here, and we just wanted to make a video showing the process of transferring your ZappyChat prompt and bots over to CloseBot. So in this video, we're going to be going through a decent amount of detail. So this video will be longer. We're going to try to put some chapter markers in here so you can skip to the part that is most relevant to you. But on the screen here, I have set up a prompt, right? A ZappyChat prompt. And we're going to be using a remodeler as the example here. And so we have the role, the goals, the rules, the conversation flow, right? Very typical here. Now, from this prompt, CloseBot has theirs laid out a couple of different ways, right? So we need to take this prompt and we need to actually fill in these areas that I have here. One is how to respond. And in CloseBot, we call this the persona. And so we'll be going through all this, but also we need the tone. We need important business information, and we need why the conversation is happening. So as we go through this prompt here, first thing we're going to do is work on the how to respond. So that is going to be a mixture of rules, and maybe you have some of that in your role too. But let's pop over and see what I wrote. So we wanted to ask one question at a time. And I have it actually down here, and I marked it out because you actually don't need that part. And that's one awesome thing about CloseBot is that they do have a lot of these things in their backend prompts for you already. So in ZappyChat, we had to specify, hey, I only want you to ask one question at a time. But that's not the case in CloseBot, right? The next one is use challenger cell principles, right? So we're going to keep that one. And then the next one is acknowledge and validate their input. So again, this one's crossed out because you don't need that either. Match their tone and language. Don't need that one either. That's already in CloseBot. And so you're already starting to see how much easier it is going to be to create a bot, which is, an agent, which is a combination of the persona and the job flow in CloseBot. And then we want you to stay conversational and human using, phrases in this case. And this might not be your case, right? But using words like awesome. And so if you don't want that, you wouldn't have that in here. But if we take this, right, we have this one right here. We have a lot of these in here, but in CloseBot, we're only going to need this one and we're going to need this one. That's it, right? Then coming back to tone. With how CloseBot is set up, you're going to have 3 options for tone, like 3 words that you're going to put. So for this one, I just put friendly, professional, and supportive. I mean, you could have angry, professional, whatever you wanted. 3 words that kind of summarize your tone. Coming back, important business information. So these are things that the bot is going to reference as it's going through the conversation. This in conjunction with the knowledge base, but company is a trusted home remodeler based in a certain city. The first meeting is conducted via Zoom. Do not share pricing or designer availability. Style preferences and timeline are relevant qualification questions. And then our services include ABC, right? In this example, and then why the conversation is happening. This would be the context in ZappyChat. So we're just taking that over, right? We're getting leads from the website. We want them to come over, etc. So that's easy right there. Now, let's pop over to CloseBot and let's show you where these start going. As I come over, I'm not going to show you the whole thing like how to connect your high level account because you already know all that. All that's the same, right? You just connect in your high level account. But then there are 2 aspects of making an agent now. One is the persona. So we have the persona name, whatever you want it to be. I'll just tell it Victor for now. And then on the next page, you're going to see how do you want us to respond? So we're going to go back and take those out. So we want it to say this one. It already has some pre-filled in things, so you can just use what it already has, and that's nice, right? So we're going to say, hey, do this. We also want you to do this. So I have both of those in there. We have tone, right? Concise, friendly, sincere. Yeah, I actually like those. We're just going to keep those. Advanced settings, we're going to set the message waiting delay, where 15 seconds usually feels pretty natural. Frequency of typos and the frequency of breaking up larger messages. So those are just personal preference. And the idea here is that you might have multiple personas within your agency or within one account, actually, right? And so you might have a certain persona that is responding to DMs, like you DM a certain way and you also email a certain way. And so those might have different personas, right? If it was email, that would be more professional, right? So we're just going to click next. You would select your provider here. So I'm not going to save this, but this is which model you're going to be, or provider, Anthropic, OpenAI, Gronk, any of those, and then you're going to confirm it. So now that we have that, we're going to come back and we're going to start working on the flow. So this is going to be in the job flow. So we're just going to create a new one. We're going to call it remodeler. Go next. We're going to connect it to a high level sub account, right? We're just going to pick one. I got business coaching up and we're going to build it from scratch. Now we have the start module. We're going to pop back. We're going to say this greeting. So just like in CloseBot or in ZappyChat, CloseBot is responsive. So CloseBot only responds to messages that we get in. So if you want to send the first outbound message, you would set that up in the workflow, just like you did in ZappyChat. Hey, a lead comes in. We're going to, wait a minute and we're going to send them this message. And in this one right now, we have, hi, welcome to the remodeling company name. This is Skylar. I'm here to walk you through the next steps. Is this contact first name? Just want to make sure I have the right person, right? So we've asked that question and they've responded. So they're either going to respond with yes or no. Yes or no, if else. So we're actually going to use a branch here. And we're going to use AI to power this decision. And we're going to say description for the AI. We have the correct person. That's it, right? So now I'm going to drag this over. So if it is the correct person, we want it to go one way. If it's not the correct person, we wanted to just say sorry, So if it's not the correct person, we're going to say, sorry, I'll take you off the list. Now, we're using AI to generate this response, which means the AI might say their name. It might have some slight variation on that. If you didn't want the AI to have any variation on this, you would deselect this. So we're going to just title this correct person. As you can see, I've already done this one time, walking through it. So then we'll go to, it is the correct person. So then we're going to come back to our conversation flow and we're going to see what's the next step. So we're going to explore the project, right? Awesome. To make sure we're the right fit before booking your call, can you tell me a little bit about what kind of remodel you're planning, like a kitchen, bathroom, or anything else, right? So we have an objective type. Now, if you wanted to save this in a custom field and you had that custom field created in high level, that would be in this list, right? But we don't really want that. We're just collecting information for now. So we'll call this type of remodel. We'll give it a short description, right? Determine the type of remodel user is wanting. So we could leave it like that, but we can also give it a little bit more in this extra prompt thing. And I'm just going to say example, and I'm going to give it, I copied that from the prompt that we already had, right? And we're going to save that. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to ask them the timeline. So we're going to add an objective. We're going to timeline for remodel. Right? So we could leave it like that, but just because we already had this in our prompt, I'm just going to say example and then paste that. Save that one, pop back. So you can see how easy this is to make. Style preferences. Come back. Objective. And we'll give it the example again. Save that one. Now we should be getting to the end. All right, so this is essentially asking for the call, right? Do you want to hop on a call? Now, let's ask that one, because this one is actually important to the project or for the example. So we're going to have this. We're just going to title this Call Interest. So we're just going to ask, example. All right. Now, from here, this is important. And it's because we have another if-else condition. They can say yes or they can say no. So we're going to create another branch. And we're going to use AI to power this decision. That's just saying, so if we had something like a custom field, we can say, if it's this custom field, we go this way. So we're not going to use AI for that because it's either matching up or it's not. But since this one is a little subjective, they can say yes. They can say sure. They can say absolutely, all these things. And AI is going to know what they're saying. And so we're going to let AI determine this. So we're going to say user is interested in booking call. Right? Interested. We'll just say interest. So saving that one. Now, if they are interested, we're going to collect their information, right? That's what we want to do first. So we'll come over, we'll have, and just for the sake of this video, to make it a little bit shorter, we're going to add multiple objectives to this. But what we've actually seen is you probably want to do these one at a time, right? The name first, then the email, unless you wanted to ask them all together. So that's where in our prompt it said ask one question at a time. If you wanted that, you would have 3 objectives, right? The name, the phone number, the email. If you kind of wanted to maybe pair a couple, hey, can I get your name and number real quick? Then you can put those in one. So we do want this to update the custom fields in high level. So we're actually going to put an output variable here, get the contact's full name. So if we wanted it to be 1, we would save it there. If we wanted it to be 2, we could also add the email, right? So let's just do that for now. And then once we collect that information, we are going to go to booking, right? And that would be it. That would be all we would do there. And then let's come back to this branch right here. Let's say they're not interested in booking a call. What we can do is we can go through a little bit of conversation with them to try to get them to book. So we can come into this time delay and we can set this maybe, say, 5 minutes, 600 seconds. I think that's right. That's 10 minutes. 10 minutes, whatever, right? And we can say, use Challenger sale principles to overcome objections and go to booking, right? So we can say that. And then we can have another branch that says, if they say yes, book. If no, just let them go, right? So you can determine how picky you want to be with them. So right now, this is it. This is exactly what the prompt from ZappyChat would output. But I do want to show you something different. Imagine we have different questions we want to ask based off of the type of remodel, right? So let me just break this right here. Right. So now we have all of this. We can move this over a little bit. Maybe not. I'm not good at that. So say we ask the type of remodel. Do you want kitchen or do you want bathroom? And we can say that these ones are maybe kitchen, but say we have another set of questions we want to ask for the bathroom, right? Maybe it's something like, are you moving the toilet? Right? Something that might be a little bit harder and is specific to the bathroom. Do you have an extra bathroom? Right? That's going to be something to determine during a remodel, right? If this is the only bathroom, like what are we going to do? We're going to have to talk about that or whatever. So you would set up a switch, possibly, especially if you had more than 2 options, right? Say you had 5 different options, kitchens, bathrooms, I don't know what else there is, whole house remodel, the whole thing, right? An addition, and you had different questions for each one. We're going to use a switch, and we're going to use AI to determine remodel type. And we have the cases down here, right? We have kitchen. We have bathroom. And then you could have one of these branches that go off of each of these switches, right? So that is where not only can you replicate what ZappyChat did, but we can also go a level above, where before you would have to use tags and goals and ZappyChat to do these switches, right? We're going to switch it based off of this tag, and then we're going to use this other webhook. And you could do this in ZappyChat, but it would take you a lot longer and have a lot more things that can break than this in CloseBot. And then the beauty of this is, once you get this and you get a new remodeler client, you just assign this job flow and persona to them. So you just onboard them, right? You connect their source. You just attach these 2 things, and that's it. That's all you have to do. No setup in high level, right? No 20 workflows, no custom values, none of that. You just put it in here and they're ready to go. So that is how you do this one by one, but I do want to show you a little trick here. So if we come back to agents, we come into job flows, we'll call this import 2 because I already have one. We'll go to next, we click high level, click the location. Now we have this from AI prompt. So you can literally paste that prompt in here, and I'll show you what I came out with. So we have ours, but I called it the import flow, right? Look how similar this looks. Confirmation, the branch, right? If it is them, say this. If it's not them, say this. If it is them, project type, project timeline, style preferences, branch, right? So it's not perfect, but I mean, that saves you a lot of time right there and how it's going through that. And so worst case scenario, you could just take your prompt and put it in the AI prompt generator and get the job flow. I mean, it's going to be so easy. So again, I know this video is a little bit longer. I hope you stuck with me, and I hope you see not only how easy it is going to be to migrate your ZappyChat bots into these agents, but also the possibilities that you have to make it even better than what you had it before. So pretty soon we're going to be going through, we're going to be setting up onboarding calls specifically for ZappyChat clients who are wanting to migrate their bots over. So keep an eye on your email. Remember, we have open office hours every day talking about these issues, and we just suspect that those are going to become more and more CloseBot related. So again, just keep an eye on your email. Make sure you're in the Facebook group. It's popping in there, and we'll talk soon. Bye.